We're giving away t-shirts, we're giving away Mad Scientist BBQ sweatshirts, we're giving away a Thermapen, and if this video gets 50,000 views by the end of Thanksgiving Day, we're gonna give away a free leather apron. Hey guys, welcome to Mad Scientist BBQ. I'm Jeremy Yoder, and today, welcome to the Thanksgiving special. Instead of cooking meat with fire, we're gonna be cooking some pumpkin pie. And we're gonna have some trivia, and we're gonna have a giveaway. It's gonna be a lot of fun, so stick around. A lot of you may not know, but I was actually born into an Amish family. And my mom opened an Amish bakery when I was a kid, and I would go and work in the bakery doing kind of menial tasks. The stuff that she made there was absolutely the best in the world, in my humble, unbiased opinion. And so one of the things that she made that I absolutely loved was pumpkin pie. That was my favorite dessert. I was surrounded by cookies and donuts and pies and pastries of various sorts in the bakery that she had. But the one thing that I loved the most was pumpkin pie. And so finally, for the first time ever, we're sharing this recipe with non-family members. So you guys are, my viewers, you're like family to me. So she said, all right, well, you can do it. And I said, really? You don't mind if I share the recipe? And she said, no, you'll probably mess it up anyway, so it's fine. Anyway, we're gonna try to make that today. And I'm not a baker, but my mom is. And I'm also not a doctor, but my father-in-law is. And I'm also not a lawyer, but my brother is. My point is basically, I wanna make this pie because I have such great memories of it, and I'm gonna do my best, but I'll just be frank with you guys, it could completely fail. I've tried to make some stuff that my mom gives me the recipe to in the past, and it's not turned out the best. But if I even get close to how good she does it, it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna put the full recipe in the description, and then also you should know that some of the reason that I failed in making my mom's recipes in the past is because, well, first she has a cookbook, but her real recipes aren't in the cookbook. So I say, hey mom, send me the recipe for your pumpkin pie or your cinnamon rolls or whatever. And so she'll send me her real recipe. But then she doesn't actually use the real recipe because I'll follow what it says in the recipe and it totally fails. And I'll call her up and say, hey mom, I tried to make these cinnamon rolls and it didn't work out. And she said, well, how much flour did you add? I said, 6 cups, like the recipe says. And she's like, oh, well, I never use 6 cups. So I have verified with her multiple times that this is the real recipe, what she actually does. So wish me luck. We're gonna start by making the pie crust. It's gonna be 6 cups of pastry flour, 2 cups of lard. And if you're wondering, lard is the Amish way to do it, except the Amish would render their own lard because that's just how they roll. But you can get great quality lard. I'll put a link for this in the description. I actually ended up using this way more than I thought. It's really good stuff. But it's the Amish way, so we're gonna use lard. If you need to, you can use Crisco or some kind of vegetable shortening, but this is gonna produce a lot better flavor. According to my mom, if you wanna make the best pie crust in the world, you gotta use lard. So that's what we're doing. And the last ingredient to make the crust is 12 ounces of Sprite. And this is a fail-safe pie crust because I didn't trust myself to make it exactly the way my mom does. So we have the fail-safe method, and hopefully this works for you too. So first we're gonna mix together by hand the flour, the lard, and a half teaspoon of salt. And then we add the Sprite, and that's gonna be our pie dough. You may have to add a little bit more flour so it looks like crumbles rather than a dough already. So it shouldn't look like a dough until you add the liquid. In this case, we're gonna add Sprite. The recipe calls for 1 can of Sprite, but I can only buy a bottle in a single, so I'm gonna add about 12 ounces here. Once you have it all mixed together, don't mix it too much because you don't want too much gluten to form, and then the crust won't be as soft and flaky. So at this point, we're basically done. Now it's time to roll out a pie crust. That's how my mom does it, but she does it 10 times faster and better. It's like she's karate chopping the pie crust into place. Ta-da! Pie crust is done. Now let's mix up the filling. Into the oven at 400 degrees for the first 10 minutes, and then down to 350 to finish baking. All right, we just took the pie out, and while that cools, it's time for some trivia. But first, let me tell you about the giveaways that we're gonna do. So we're giving away t-shirts, we're giving away Mad Scientist BBQ sweatshirts, we're giving away a Thermapen, and if this video gets 50,000 views by the end of Thanksgiving Day, we're gonna give away a free leather apron. Now, the way to enter on YouTube is just leave a comment below. We're gonna find people, and we're gonna respond to your comment and say that you've won, and then we'll tell you exactly how you can get your prize. Also, we're doing a giveaway on Instagram and Twitter. So if you wanna enter on Instagram and Twitter, you can enter up to 3 times because YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, all you have to do is go to my Instagram and Twitter to see the rules. Now it's time for trivia. So if you want friends or family to do this with you and you can kind of flex on them how much you know about science and barbecue, pause the video now and go grab them. If you want to do it by yourself, awesome. You can leave comments down below. All right, question number 1. This compound found in chilies is responsible for making things taste spicy. The answer is capsaicin. So if you're eating something and it's really spicy, it's capsaicin. But if you think black pepper is spicy, there's no capsaicin there, so technically it's just sharp in flavor rather than spicy. Because it's Thanksgiving, we were inspired to ask this question. This amino acid, commonly found in turkey, is responsible for making people feel sleepy after they eat a large amount of the bird. The answer to that is tryptophan. Technically, this tree is a species of hickory, but it's cultivated mostly in the United States for its seed. Hint, it's my favorite barbecue smoking wood. And if you guessed pecan, congratulations, you're right. Also called primary combustion, this process releases gases from wood when it's heated. This is called pyrolysis. The 3 primary components of wood are cellulose, hemicellulose, and this class of organic compounds responsible for smoky flavor. The answer to this one is lignin. If you've watched any of my wood science videos, you've probably heard that term before. This structural protein is important for barbecuers because when you cook low and slow, it breaks down to form gelatin, which retains a lot of moisture in the meat and keeps it from drying out. That protein is collagen, actually the most abundant protein found in mammals. This term, meaning Japanese cattle, actually refers to any of the 4 Japanese beef cattle breeds. This term is Wagyu, and so Wagyu can refer to the Japanese polled, the Japanese shorthorn, the Japanese brown, and the Japanese black, which is the most common. One of the 9 primal cuts of beef, this cut comes from the chest or pectoral area of the animal. And that cut is brisket. That's why it's got 2 muscles, just like you do there. You have the pectoralis major and pectoralis minor. In cattle, it's the pectoralis superficialis and the pectoralis profundus. Now, I do a lot of cooking meat with fire, but the biggest fire you see on a daily basis is the sun. How long does it take light to get all the way from the sun to Earth, even though it's about 92, 93 million miles away? Takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds, give or take, because the distance varies. But if you say about 8 minutes, you're close enough. All right, final question. For this one, I want you to name the opposite. This kind of smoker burns pellets for flavor and heat. And the opposite of that is all real smokers. No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually doing a deep dive on pellet smokers right now, trying to perfect the process of doing barbecue on those, so no hate against pellet smokers, it's just fun to pick at them a little bit. But here's the real final question. Last week, if you're watching on Thanksgiving for this Thanksgiving special, there was a phenomenon called a lunar eclipse. And so the final question to you is, during a lunar eclipse, which of these is correct? The sun is between the Earth and the moon, the Earth is between the sun and the moon, or the moon is between the Earth and the sun? The correct answer is that the Earth is between the moon and the sun. It's a lunar eclipse because the moon, lunar, goes into the shadow of the Earth and then it becomes dark. That's it for the trivia questions. Let me know in the comments down below how many you got right. And now let's see if that pie's cooled off enough to eat. Still a little more, but it's not hot anymore, so hopefully it works. Also, with this pumpkin pie, it's got kind of a different color than you may be used to with pumpkin pies. So most pumpkin pies that I've had elsewhere are kind of orange when they come out. This one is kind of a medium to dark brown. I think that color is maybe because of the egg whites that get added in. I don't know. Regardless, when my mom makes it, it's delicious. Hopefully I didn't totally screw it up. Now we gotta try it. As I said, I'm not a baker, so if this turns out halfway decent, that's a big win for me. That's a win.
Is it as good as your mom?
No, it's not as good as my mom. So if I give my mom's a 10, this is like a 6.3. I suggest you go out and try to make one of these on your own. It's my favorite pumpkin pie, and I think that if you make it for your family, they're gonna enjoy it too. Please share the video, and you can support the channel by subscribing and liking the video down below. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Mad Scientist BBQ. I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you guys next time. Want more? More? Be nice and soft. This structural leaf fell right in front of the lens, okay?